I'm ready to see a new Seattle Seahawks culture. Broncos at the Seahawks, game 1, at home in the throwback jerseys, and I want to just rant about it. What are we looking for in week 1? Now, obviously, we're not going into this season as technical Super Bowl contenders, or according to a lot of people, not even contenders for a playoff spot. But I think a lot of Seahawks fans might see it differently. And I think that's an honest way to see it and a fair way to see it. I don't think it's specifically just a biased way of looking, because at the end of the day, the Seahawks actually have pieces that you'd want for a team that's actually competing. So I think at the end of the day, a lot of the inability of people to predict the Seahawks being a decent team, when you see some power rankings at the 20th, at 22nd, finishing 3rd or 4th in the division, I just don't find it realistic if you actually break down what this team has personnel-wise and actually open your eyes to that. And so that's what I wanted to break down today in this video and almost do it more of a podcast style rant type of talk. I've been sick. I had the flu for like a week. I didn't make any videos. So before I start breaking down, diving into specific topics for the next couple of weeks, I wanted to come on 5 days away from the opener, talk Seahawks football. Let's talk about this game coming up, what we're looking for, how we're feeling, and just an honest conversation now that I finally can sit on a microphone for 10-15 minutes without having a cough attack as the flu is finally over. So what are we looking for? I think the biggest answer here, and it's going to be a funny answer because it kind of comes back full circle to what our team was in our previous regime, like one of the sayings, but I'm actually looking for the team to compete. And what I mean by that is not the Pete Carroll compete type of mindset, but I want to see a team that competes in a different way. I want to see a team that's not sloppy, with sloppy penalties and, sloppy false starts and sloppy offsides penalties or holding penalties or pass interferences. I want to see a team that competes, and a team that's competing in the trenches all game, goes hard, and feels like a team, especially on the defensive side. I'm not really worried about the offense. I think I've talked about that in a few videos. I'm not too concerned about the offense in general. On the defensive side, I want Baltimore Ravens of last year. That's what I want from a Mike McDonald new staff, is to bring that fire, that Steelers, Ravens, whatever type of AFC North mentality of defense. We need that. And I think with the defensive line pieces that we have, with the defensive backs we have, obviously our biggest concerns always right now at linebacker. I keep saying that's obviously the biggest unit of concern, but we have enough pieces all around to build a very good defense if things are done right. And I want to see them compete. I don't want, any games like last year for the Seahawks. I think it was very clear to a lot of Seahawks fans, and I've John Schneider's basically said it out loud. He said it in a undercover way, but that Ravens game was probably the end of Pete Carroll's Seahawks tenureship, the 37-3 loss. One, John Schneider wanted Mike McDonald on the other side. He wanted that 37-year-old that he can, have for the next 20 years as a Seahawks coach. And number two is, that was the moment where it's like this team messages this off, right? Like, this era is over. Things are off. We're supposed to be a decent team. I think we were 6-2 or 6-3 going into that week and lost 37-3. And it felt like it was over. Because you're not a good team, or like if you're rarely ever does a good team or a team that's rallying around the right people right now take a loss like that one. It felt like a quit really early on. It felt like a not competing type of game. So my first order of business and what I want to see on Sunday with the Seahawks is a team that seems like they're rallying around everything the coaching staff is talking about and preaching. A team that's rallying around each other. A team that's not sloppy and not making crazy mistakes. And a defense that's improved. So like those are all somewhat in the same category as for me. It's like I need to see an aggressive, clean, and put together defense. That's like one of the biggest topics there. Aggressive, listening to the coaching staff, but clean, great defense. It's not going to be number one defense in the league, but I need to see a big jump or improvement because that's why you brought in Mike McDonald and why you fired Pete Carroll. On the offensive side, I'm not too worried. We had the personnel last year. We have it this year. We've improved the offensive line significantly. I think, through the draft, through free agency, the backups we got for, knowing that Abraham Lucas might not come back, bringing in Connor Williams, they've improved the line significantly. Kenneth Walker's ready to potentially be a top 5 to 10 running back in the league. Geno Smith, everyone's saying he's phenomenal. Tyler Lockett said he looks phenomenal. He's had the best camp he's had so far. It feels like everybody is high on Geno. And then, of course, the receiving core. We all know, obviously, the 4 or 5 guys of Chenault and Bobo and JSN and Metcalf and Locke. And you got Noah Fant and Pharaoh Brown if he comes back healthy. There's so many pieces on this offense. The biggest problem with the offense last year was Shane Waldron. And sorry, Bears fans. Maybe Caleb's a good enough quarterback, which I think he might be, to, actually just, it doesn't really matter. Like, Caleb Williams might be that Patrick Mahomes type of player where even with Shane Waldron, they make each other look good. But it wasn't working with the Seahawks last year, whatever it was. And I'm not even trying to crap on Shane Waldron because, man, I'm not asking for the dude to be unemployed. I'm just glad he's not our offensive coordinator, and I don't think he's very good at it. But he might be good at it at another job. It might have just not been a fit with the personnel or in Seattle. But now with Ryan Grubb, I'm feeling confident. I feel like Ryan Grubb's going to do something really special with this offense. We saw it last year in college. I know it's college, but the way that Washington offense was just like pure, they called it basketball and grass for a while. It was pure bliss. It was pure, beautiful football. And I watched University of Washington this week, and I know the personnel is so different. They lost 49 players. But, watching the offense, they have Will Rogers, a good quarterback at Washington now. But I was just like, damn, I might have taken them for granted how good they were last year. I was bored. It was a boring offense to watch against, oh my God, I can't remember who it was against. This week's Eastern Michigan, last week. I forgot, whoever it was, they beat Weber State, they beat. I was uninspired. It was a good win, whatever. They're going to be a top 25 team in Washington. But, it just flashed me back to thinking, holy crap, Ryan Grubb's offense was cool. Holy crap, we were lucky to have that. And, then I was like, oh, my God, he is the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks. Yes, it was not in the NFL last year. Yes, we don't know how it's going to be in the NFL. But I do know he is smart, and he's offensively very talented as a coach. You've had guys like Geno Smith talk about the playbook and how advanced it is and how excited they are to try it. You've had guys like JSN talk about that and say, his eyes got wide when he saw the playbook. That's a guy that I think we're going to see have an extremely big breakout season is JSN. He might be the best receiver on the team, and that's with a guy, I think we already have a top 12 to 20 receiver in DK Metcalf. You might have 2 of them with Jackson Smith and Jigba and Metcalf next year or this coming year, starting next week. So I'm very excited to see how they all come together, that offense and the defense. But those are the 2 things I'm excited about, really, is I want to see a hard-nosed defense that's not sloppy. And on the offensive side, I want to see what Ryan Grubb is cooking. Those are going to be my first 2 observations. It's going to tell me a lot about how's this year probably going to go. How's it going to, how are we going to, because it might show me we might be a slow starting season. I'm not saying it might show we're bad, but it might show a slow starting season. It might show this needs time. It might show it needs a couple years for all we know. So we just have to brace it and see what's up with it and see if it's all going to work out or not. Now, if you want to support at all, please check out SeattleONTAP.com. We have t-shirts there. That's where you can find our blogs. We write almost every day, different blogs, and we have different merchandise. Just check out SeattleONTAP.com, and it would mean the world to us. And follow Seattle on Tap's YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all of them for daily content in the Seattle sports world. But overall, to wrap it up, I just want this team to show me something good. And it sounds dumb, right? To some people, but I think if you understand what I mean from my perspective, you'll get it, is that I just don't want to see the same shit we saw of Pete Carroll's teams the last couple of years. The penalties, the DK Metcalf freakouts, and, all that. The mess of holdings and the mess of false starts. And it seems like things started to get kind of unravel fast. I want to see a buttoned up professional football team. And you've heard some players talk this week, if you're on Twitter or different places, talking about this is a new kind of regime and like things are a little more buttoned up right now on this. It sounds like a shot towards Pete, and it might be and it might not be, but it's also more just, hey, we are noticing a difference. This is a little bit different than when the happy-go-lucky Pete Carroll era. They're noticing a difference. I'm not in the building every day to tell you, but I'll tell you that players have talked about how they feel buttoned up on defense. Players talk about how the focus in this this locker room or this front office is different, and the coaching staff's different, and it's all positive words. It's not a bunch of negative things coming out left and right. So I think we're good. I think we're lucky to have somebody like Mike McDonald. I think we are blessed to have him. I don't know what it is about this, which is why I'm excited to watch Sunday. I think everyone's universally in agreement that he's good already as a coach, even though he hasn't been a head coach yet. I think it was Peter Schrager on Good Morning Football has him as his coach of the year. Everyone has him penciled in as like the next 10 years, 15 year Seahawks coach. And I think everyone has that for a good reason, though, because something about it just feels right. The way he's buttoned up, the way his success and track record has kind of, gone uphill really quickly, the way he talks about the game, the people they brought in with him, like Ryan Grubb, it just feels like, and that could be scary too, so don't get me wrong, but it feels like everyone's already at a universal agreement that this is good. Now, that could be a problem, obviously. We could all end up being laughably wrong, but I'm hoping that's not the case, and it ends up just being that everyone was right. This guy was the next Sean McVay, was the next Kyle Shanahan type of young coach. But hopefully more like McVay and actually wins the Super Bowl, unlike the 49ers, who just find a way to always lose in the Super Bowl. So I hope it all works out. I'm excited for this coming Sunday. I'll probably have another video out before then. But in the meantime, like I said, always follow Seattle on Tap. Me and George, my brother, always have podcasts coming out there. Seahawks, Mariners, Huskies. We're going to be dropping more content now that I got healthy. Season starting. We're going to have a lot more content coming your way on a daily basis. So follow Seattle on Tap and check out our site for our merchandise and our articles and blogs. I love y'all. I love any support that you give us. It means the world to me. And we'll be back soon. Peace.